Hey, how's it going? Rich Stitzel here, creator of the DrumMantra practice system. I'm going to tell you a little bit about DrumMantra and also about Book 1, the Foundational Series. DrumMantra simply means rhythmic repetition. Drum means rhythm, mantra means repetition. The reason we want to have rhythmic repetition in our practice is we want to develop muscle memory. Once we have muscle memory, we are able to express ourselves without having to analyze and think about anything too much. Our body already knows how to respond in the moment to the music. So once we get our exercises, our coordination, our phrasing, our grooves, all of that stuff to the level of muscle memory on the cellular level of the body, then the body can freely express itself with very little interference with analyzation and trying to figure out what to do in the moment. Because once you start to do that, you're going to be late. We want to be in the moment when we play, and the best way to be in the moment is to ground these exercises into our bodies. The only way to do that is through muscle memory. The DrumMantra practice system is based on 6 key elements: timing, reading, coordination, polymetric awareness, phrasing, and groove. All of the exercises in the DrumMantra practice system cross-train these different categories into single lessons. So you might be working on a timing exercise that's also a coordination exercise and a polymetric coordination exercise, and it may also be a reading exercise. Or you may be working on a groove, but it's also working on your time and it's working on your reading. So I try to make all the exercises in DrumMantra cross-trained with those 6 key elements, which are time, reading, coordination, polymetric awareness, phrasing, and groove. Now let's talk about Book 1, the Foundational Series. The Foundational Series is where it all begins. This is where you build a strong foundation. The Foundational Series is broken into 3 sections. Section 1 is in 4/4 time, Section 2 is in 3/4 time, and Section 3 is in 5/4 time. So you have 3 different time signatures, and the reason that we have these different time signatures is because we can introduce the polymetric relationship in the 3/4 section and in the 5/4 section. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Each section is also divided into 3 categories: warm-ups, meditations, and rhythmic melodies. Now in the warm-ups for each section, you'll simply be doing sticking exercises on a single surface, and we're looking at accents. We're looking at accent placements across a 16th note field. Now while you're working on these, there's a play along. And the play along in each section has a different kind of moving click. What is a moving click? Well, it's a click that moves. Warm-ups come in many shapes and sizes. And today I'm going to show you a warm-up from my book, The Foundational Series. This is warm-up number 1. It's in 4/4 time. Now it's a warm-up, but it's also a timing exercise. And the reason it's a timing exercise is because the play-along that we're going to use for the warm-up is going to have a click in it. The click is going to be moving. It's called a moving click. The exercise is 16 measures long. The click is on the downbeat for 4 measures, and then the click moves to the E for 4 measures, the and for 4 measures, and the for 4 measures. Now, for those 16 bars, we're going to be playing the exact same thing. It happens to be an accent. So we're going to play 16th notes on the pad, and we're going to accent downbeats for 16 bars. The moving click is going to move through all its permutations while we're still playing the downbeat. On the 17th bar, we start over, and we move the accent to the E's. 1 E and a, 2 E and a. And we go through that whole 16 measure phrase again, maintaining the E's while the moving click goes through all its permutations. And then we go to the ands. Same thing, 16 bars. The click is going to continue to move. We just maintain steady course with the 8th note accents for 16 measures. Then you guessed it, we move to the uhs. The 16 bar phrase happens again. After that, we go to all 8th notes. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a for 16 measures. Then we go to the E's and U's. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Then we go to beats 2 and 4, 16 bars still. And then finally, we go to just beat 3. So it's 8 different accents, each played for 16 measures in a row while we're listening to a click move through each permutation of a 4/16 note grouping. Okay? Play along with me. This is a warm-up. This is something you do. You don't just watch. So get your sticks, get your pad, and here we go. Let's do warm-up number 1 from the Foundational Series book. Right, left, sticking. Here we go. So that's one of the 5 warm-ups from the first section of the Foundational Series book. We do it with right, left sticking, left, right sticking, right, left sticking, left, right sticking, and finally paradiddle sticking. It's a great exercise. It lasts about 6.5 minutes, so you're really sitting in the groove for a long time. And the reason is we want to start to unglue our need to rely on a click that happens on a downbeat. So often, if you play a groove and you're listening to a click on the downbeat, you probably sound pretty good. It's probably pretty solid. If you move to the click to the and, it might still be pretty good, but there's maybe a little bit of question there. If you move the click to the E or the your groove might fall apart, or it might be completely crazy and up and down as you're trying to figure out how to navigate with that click somewhere besides the downbeat. Well, it's not your body. Your body can play the groove. You've proven that by doing it when the click was on the downbeat. So what we're dealing with is something going on in our mind. Our mind is trying to calculate how to organize what we're doing in relation to that click that's not happening where we want it to. So we're going to undo the need to have that click on the downbeat. This is going to free you up, and it's also going to really solidify your time, because you're going to have the confidence that your body is moving correctly regardless of what's going on around you. A rushing guitar player, a dragging bass player, whatever the case may be, you're no longer going to be swayed because you're going to understand exactly where the time is. Now, that's not to say that you're not going to want to groove with the musicians that you're working with. That's a whole different topic. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole today, but suffice to say, you will be working on timing exercises that will immediately improve your concept of what's going on with the time. Now, the warm-up in section 2, in the 3/4 section, the moving click does something different. The moving click plays downbeats for 4 bars, and then it plays the dotted 8th note for 4 bars. Dotted 8th notes is the 3 to 4 polymetric relationship. So as you're playing your accent patterns, again 16 measures per exercise, you're hearing this click move in and out of the 3 to 4 polymetric relationship. This starts to really inform your concept of time again, because we're hearing something in 3/4 very clearly, and when that click moves into dotted 8th notes, it's very easy to shift your mind to hearing something in 12/8 time instead of 3/4 time. Those two time signatures are related, and you'll learn way more about that in the book and as you play these exercises. But I'm saying what's happening is we're starting to develop a concept called rhythmic perception. Am I in 3/4? Am I in 12/8? You start to develop the ability to think in 2 time signatures at the same time when you introduce the polymetric relationship. The same is true in the 5/4 section for the warm-ups. You hear a click on the downbeat for 5 beats because you're in 5/4 time, and then you hear a click every 5th, 16th note. So now there's 4 clicks in the same space that there were 5 clicks. This is the 5 to 4 polymetric relationship. So you're going back and forth between quarter notes in 5 and every 5th, 16th note in 5. So it sounds like the time slows down. It's not slowing down because you're just stretching out the number of subdivisions between each beat. Again, this is informing a rhythmic perception. Am I in 5 with 16th notes? Am I in 4 with 5 subdivisions between each note? The mind starts to wander as we work on these exercises. Now, the whole time you're doing this, you're really tricking your body into doing a lot of muscle memory, because each of the warm-ups takes about 7 minutes to get through. So as this stuff is happening and as you're giving your mind something to focus on and think about, you're really giving your body an opportunity to develop that muscle memory through lots of repetitions. 16 measures, and then 16 measures, and then 16 measures, and 16 measures, all these different accent patterns. It gives your body a lot of time to sink in and get that happening. So that's the warm-up section for each part of this foundational series. The second feature of the foundational series is the meditations. I call these the meditations because this is the opportunity to really focus your mind, focus your attention, and start to develop some coordination. Now, the word mantra means repetition, basically. It means a word or a phrase that you repeat over and over again, usually in a meditation or prayer mode, but what we're doing is converting it to drumming, okay? The meditation is the mantra is the repetition. So the coordination that's happening is basically we're doing the warm-ups again, but we're adding a new element, we're adding a pulse. The pulse happens in one of the feet, the bass drum or the hi-hat. So as we're playing these accent structures, we're also starting to introduce pulse structures. The accents move, the pulses move. And we sit on these for a certain amount of time to develop muscle memory again, but to also challenge ourselves to be very present. Because one of the things that's so important in music is to be in the moment that you're in. As soon as you start to check out and you go into autopilot, and it's easy to do, especially if you've been playing a gig for a long time and there's no twists or turns or surprises, you check out, you make a mistake. Or you check out and the sincerity goes away from the music that you're making. You check out and your intention is no longer felt by the audience. When you're present and in the moment, in every moment, that's where the magic happens. That's where the magic on the bandstand happens between the musicians. Even if you're playing something that doesn't involve interaction and improvisation, even if you're just playing a show that you play all the time and it's the same every night, when you intend the notes, when you intend to be present in playing everything with absolute precision and meaning, it brings a life to the music. It brings an energy to it that you just can't get if you're phoning it in, right? So what we're doing is we're training ourselves to be present, training ourselves to be in the moment. The moment that we're in, that's where the magic happens. That's where the connection to music happens. Okay, so these exercises are also about 6.5 minutes long, and you just play it down, and it changes just enough that if you check out, you're going to make a mistake. So it kind of holds you accountable as you go down the page, and then you go back up to the top. You do there's 8 measures on a page. You do each measure 8 times, and then you go back up, you do each measure 4 times, each measure twice, each measure once, and each measure once again. So you're having to start maybe dealing with the ideas of patience. Maybe something seems very easy. Well, you've got to have patience. You've got to stay with it. Are your stick heights the same? Are your accents being heard? Are you comfortable? Are you breathing? Breathing is such an important part of all the drum mantra exercises, especially the foundational series. I mean, that's where it all begins. The breathing happens. Now, the tempos that I've picked for the play-alongs allow you to have a comfortable breath. In the 4/4 section, for me personally, I can inhale for 2 bars and exhale for 2 bars very comfortably. In the 3/4 section, I can inhale for 4 bars, exhale for 4 bars very comfortably. In the 5/4 section, I'm back to an inhale for 2 bars and an exhale for 2 bars. So when I work with my students, I'm always talking about breathing, and part of this work in the foundational series is making sure your breath is also connected to what you're doing. Very, very big deal. A great way to increase the coordination challenge and to really, really make sure that you are in the moment. Because if you can focus on your breath, then you're here. If you know that you're breathing in and you know you're breathing out, because you've played single stroke rolls a bunch with accents. that can go on autopilot if you're not careful. So to keep the intention behind staying in the moment, we add our breath to these exercises. That's another reason why I call it the meditation, because we truly are leaving everything around us behind for that 6.5 minute exercise. We're focusing completely on the moment. And you'll hear in the music, it keeps you, it captivates you. There's a lot going on to solidify what you're doing, and there's also things that are going on to kind of play with what you're doing. So you have an opportunity to kind of experience what's going on in the play along, but also needing to stay present, and also needing to make sure your accents are right, and that you're relaxed, and that the coordination is happening. So we've really upped the game with a simple exercise, just because by virtue of the play along that keeps us on the page for the amount of time required to develop the muscle memory. Okay, section 3, or the third part of each section, is the rhythmic melodies. This is the big feature of the book. This is when, to me, the book comes to life. So we've got the warm-ups, where we're really focusing on our hands, we're really focusing on what the click is doing, we're thinking about time, we're breathing. And then we have the meditations. There's 6 of them in each section. We're focusing on coordination, we're focusing on our breath, we're focusing on being present. Then the rhythmic melody section happens. The rhythmic melody section is 8 4-measure long melodies, rhythms, that you read with one of your feet. While you're reading that melody, you're still playing the 16th note grid with your hands with various accents. So you're accenting the downbeat, and you're playing this 32-bar melody with your foot. It starts off with quarter note and 8th note oriented melodies, and it becomes very syncopated 16th note melodies. So it builds in complexity, I guess you could say, as you go down the page, and you're playing downbeats as you're accenting. No problem, okay? Accenting. No problem. Okay, well now it's time to do it again, and now you're accenting the E. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. accents are not on the downbeat. So what we started off with the warm-ups and trying to undo our need to hear the downbeat as a click, now we're actually performing that by playing an accent that's not on the downbeat, playing accents that are on the E's, playing accents that are on the ands or the uhs. There's a lot of different, there's 8 different accents that you go through while you're reading these pages. So you're really undoing not only your need to hear the pulse in a certain place, but you're proving that you're able to play that pulse anywhere you need to while still maintaining the accuracy of the melodies that you're reading. Those melodies happen in 4/4, 3/4, and 5/4. Now, of course, I said the polymetric relationship gets introduced in the 3/4 section and the 5/4 section. Well, in the rhythmic melodies, you're reading a melody that's in 3/4, you're playing dotted eighth notes as accents, so every third note is being accented on top of playing melodies. Now you're in a whole new world. This is polymetric coordination. This is polymetric phrasing. We're playing a polymeter with our hands while we're reading in a separate time signature with our feet. This is why this book becomes advanced, because these are advanced concepts. 3-note groupings on top of 4-note groupings, that's a polymeter. Playing melodies on top of those can be very challenging. It's not going to happen overnight. But when it starts to happen, when you start to be able to play different groupings than the subdivision is happening in the melody, like if your melody is based on 4-note groupings of 16th notes and your pulse movement is in 3-note groupings, well, you're implying different potential time signatures. So it's an advanced concept. It's an advanced coordination issue for sure. But what it does is it so frees you up and it informs your phrasing concept big time. Because now when you're in 3/4, you're not necessarily going to play a fill that feels like it's in 3/4. It can feel like it's all of a sudden in 12/8. You can start to imply different time on top of time by virtue of the polymetric relationship, the 3-4 polymetric relationship. And in the 5/4 section, same thing, rhythmic melodies, reading 32 bars with the foot in 5, and eventually accenting every 5th, 16th note with your hands. So you're playing the 5-4 polymetric relationship in your hands and reading exercises that are in 5/4 time. They relate, but you're stretching the concept from quarter note pulses to a bigger pulse with 5/16 notes between them. This increases your playing even more, your phrasing concepts even more. Because when you can start to hear time in different chunk values, then you can play inside of those values and understand where you are at all times. And I always want to put this out there. You don't learn this stuff so you can throw people off, so you can derail the band, so you can confuse anybody or trick anybody. You do this for music's sake. And you may work on these exercises and never play a 5-4 polymetric relationship on your gig. The point is not to develop some kind of bag of tricks that you can bring onto the bandstand and blow everyone's mind. The point is, the more you know, the deeper you're playing. The deeper you're playing, the better it feels. The more in tune you are with the present moment, the more appropriate you're going to respond musically in the moment. And you start to realize that sometimes you might respond intellectually. Oh, I have this fill that I know, and I'm going to try to play this fill right here in the song. And then sometimes you notice that you're playing from an emotional space where you sense something happening in the music and you go for some kind of expression that is completely relevant to what's happening. That had nothing to do with, I've got this bag of tricks and I'm going to pull out fill number 3A. No, this is an emotional expression that is in tune with what's going on in the moment. That's what the training for the foundational series is all about. It's about developing the ability to be in the moment and developing the muscle memory to be able to express yourself appropriately in a creative situation without the interference of the mental chatter, without the interference of, oh, I know how to do this little thing, so I'm just going to put this here, right? It becomes much more organic. And my goal is to train drummers to be able to not be afraid to simplify, to be honest. I mean, really, there's a Zen saying, the more you know, the less you say. The more you say, the less you know. So you can know all kinds of information, and if it's made it all the way into your muscle memory, you don't necessarily have to say it all the time. You can be very comfortable playing very musical and staying simple. Now, simple's not the only way to play music, but it's one way that you can be sure that you're connected emotionally to what's going on, okay? That's the Foundational Series book in a big nutshell. 3 sections, 3 time signatures, tons of exercises, all focused with a common goal of deepening your practice, deepening your awareness, and just making you a more confident and a more authoritative player. And I'm not saying authoritative like I'm going to rule the bandstand, but playing with authority, playing with relaxation, that's authority. You're relaxed because you're not stressed. Stress is not authority. Relaxation is authority, right? So we want to play with relaxation. We want to play with confidence and authority. It is felt on the bandstand. Your fellow musicians will notice a difference immediately. I promise you. It's happened with hundreds